What up, party people? This week we review 2 crazy and spicy movies. I guess I'd say crazy spicy, but I think that only apply to one of them.
Well, weirdly, both also deal with a lot of bodily fluids. Or I don't know. That might just be me and my alarm at how many bodily fluids are in movies lately. Anyway, we're going to be discussing One Night Only and Super Troopers 3, Farva's Wedding.
And for TV, we'll be discussing Silo, Season 3, Episode 6, titled The Drive.
Anyway, let's hit the road, as they say.
I don't think it's referencing that kind of drive, but sure, whatever.
Yeah, I suppose they don't drive in the silo.
Yeah. This is... We should watch that episode 20.
So insane.
Watch that with Ashley and Sushi. Feel the vibes. It's a night so lush.
Hey, Sush.
So,
what if The Purge was a rom-com and instead of one night where all crime was legal, it was one night where you were allowed to have sex each year?
Oh, it'd be weird.
It would. And that weird premise is the foundation of One Night Only, the new movie from Will Gluck, the director of Easy A, Friends with Benefits, and Anyone But You. It stars Monica Barbaro and Callum Turner, along with Maya Hawke, Julia Fox, Molly Ringwald, LeVar Burton, and a truly ridiculous number of cameos. The movie takes place in a slightly alternate version of New York, where premarital sex is illegal 364 days a year, but for one 12-hour period, single people are allowed to have as much sex as they want. Okay. That's the premise, baby. Barbaro plays Allie, who is a musician and romantic. Turner plays Owen, a pizza shop owner who's just gotten out of a relationship. They meet on what is called one night and realize they might be the only 2 people in New York who are actually looking for a connection instead of just trying to get laid. Ooh, what a premise. What'd you think, Sush?
First, I need to give some context as far as our process for screening movies.
All right.
For our movie reviews. Occasionally we attend advanced screenings for movies, but except for very rare cases, we're usually bound from sharing any thought in our content earlier than the date of release. Most of the movies we review, we actually see the week they're released in theaters, which is why our reviews typically come out the week after they premiere. So when I say we see a lot of trailers,
oh my God.
We really do see a lot of trailers.
Yeah.
Sometimes only a single version of a trailer gets cut for a movie. So if it's being marketed heavily, it might end up being ridiculously overplayed.
Oh my God.
And this was definitely one of those.
Yes.
I think the only person to recognize from the trailer was Monica Barbaro. I remember her playing the daughter of Arnold's character in the Netflix series Fubar.
Oh, yeah.
I thought she was fun in that. I didn't know the dude, but his face was hella distracting. Definitely very bird-like features. Also, I'm not sure.
Hey, that is Mr. Dua Lipa you're talking about there, so show him some respect.
All right. Well, also, I'm not sure why his mother is just cool being all open robe, showing cleavage around him, even if they are adult roommates, basically. All this is just weird, but none of it is weirder than this premise that apparently this world they live in has some law that single people can only have sex one night a year.
Just one.
So maybe all the other weird and or crazy stuff is serving as some sort of distraction to this premise.
Oh, I see. The old bait and switch.
Honestly, I wasn't even planning to see this movie, but ultimately I conceded to Ashley not wanting to see Ice Cream Man.
No, thank you.
And saw this instead. Also, I figured I could at least get some answers to the questions I had seeing the trailer.
Oh my God, yeah.
Seriously, I just didn't get how they were going to explain the whole single people can only have sex once a year law.
Mm-hmm.
So many questions just regarding that alone.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I don't think all my questions were answered from seeing the movie, I felt at least most of them were. Beyond that, I really do think I was onto something with my theory that the weirdness in this movie might be there to distract you from the sex law, which I think I'll refer to it moving on for brevity.
Sex Law would be a great song name, I think.
Yeah. I vaguely remember Ashley mentioning that this movie was yet another script from The Blacklist, this time from one that topped 2024's list, written by Travis Braun. However, looking into the production of the movie, it seems like the director, Will Gluck, rewrote much of the script as far as the characters and adapting the setting to feel very New York, as he referred to it in the interview, and ultimately trimmed nearly all of the sex and nudity, apparently, following negative test audience reactions in order to better promote the protagonist's love story.
Oh my gosh. That's fascinating. Yeah.
I think the only other movie I've seen that he's worked on was Anyone But You, with Glenn Powell and Sydney Sweeney, of course.
You haven't seen Easy A?
No, I might have seen it on TV or something, but I didn't seek it out. But I know you and I both thought Anyone But You was pretty awful.
Oh, terrible.
Yeah, so I didn't have enough context to know if this was something Gluck typically did as far as rewriting things. But ultimately, I wasn't surprised to learn that it was a rewrite, given that I remember telling you that it just felt like someone put a bunch of stuff in this movie to keep you distracted from nitpicking the sex law.
Yeah, there's a lot of shiny distraction.
Luckily, the details I theorized were likely added as a distraction were pretty legitimately hilarious.
Yeah.
Even if the humor was probably on the weirder, sillier side of the romantic comedy spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I ended up really taking issue with as far as the direction or writing, well, beyond the whole sex law thing anyway. I'm not considering this a spoiler because it's more about timing and not really plot, since the scene was in the trailer. But I guess heads up and spoiler alert to anyone who does. It took burning through 70% of the runtime to get to the scene at the pizza joint that we see in the trailer.
That's true. That's true.
I suppose you could say this movie, like the female lead, is apparently all about the buildup.
Oh, yes.
Well, yeah, moving on to the cast, it was fairly sparse, but that makes sense for a movie that was so centered on the experiences of our two leads. Monica Barbaro played Allie. As I mentioned earlier, I remember her from Fubar, and my impression of her from that show was that she seemed to be good at playing characters that had frequent moments of frustration or sarcasm.
Uh-huh.
That's definitely the case for a character in this movie as well, where I personally feel like her brand of what I'd call low effort grumpiness helped the movie from becoming too boring at any point. Callum Turner as Owen, I think he played an all right male lead. I didn't think much of him since he seemed like a fairly traditional male rom-com lead.
Yeah.
Strangely, even in a time where apparently everyone is in a rush to get laid because of the sex law. Yeah. Also, checking the cast on Rotten Tomatoes, apparently I did see him in another movie previously, The Boys in the Boat. That movie about...
He does look like he would have been in that.
Yeah. Admittedly, I probably didn't remember him from the movie because it was a movie about crew rowing, you know?
In
and
the 40s.
Cast was a bunch of white dudes who all had similar physiques. So hard to keep track of all the different people. With the exception of Molly Ringwald, who plays Owen's mom. But apparently I didn't realize was Molly Ringwald from the trailer. And the alternate love interests of the two leads. I would say most of the remaining cast was what I'd call extended cameos.
Yeah, they kind of are.
Since I really didn't feel like any of them had much presence beyond their allotted screen time.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the design goes, I think a lot of it just centers around New York and places the characters would live, work, and play. Even though there's this sex lot, the New York setting isn't otherwise really different than current day New York. Though I didn't grow up in the Northeast, so you would probably be a better judge of that, I guess.
It looked a little like Canada as New York to me.
Okay.
But
I did think it was fun that they had some ads referencing this sex lot,
yeah.
but it was still kind of weird since I don't think they actually had a well thought out name for it from what I remember. The costumes or wardrobe, I guess, were a bit more risque, at least compared to what you'd probably expect for the setting. But with the sex law and everything, it makes sense that people want to show off the goods, right?
Every time you say sex law, I just want to giggle, just warning you.
Okay. I don't recall anything notable regarding the cinematography. And actually, on my rewatch, I think all I noticed was that it was fairly simple most of the time, just centering the subjects in the middle of the frame. But there were moments like there's one that I remember where Owen is outside and he's talking to his mom who's inside the apartment at the window, where there's some obstructions that make this lack of nuance a bit distracting. If any aspect of the design was notably positive, I suppose it was the soundtrack and score.
Yeah.
I know I'm not the only one that's clocked this trend of songs and trailers that don't end up being in the actual movie that's therefore. But surprisingly, I did note that this movie, we hear Robin's Dopamine in the trailer, which is also in the movie. And I believe that might not be the only song from the trailer where this is the case, but I could be wrong. But yeah, the soundtrack and score suited the movie well. It's a little varied as far as genres and tone, but I think they all make sense for the scenes that they accompany. So going into my ratings, I ended up giving this a 3.5 for enjoyment and a 3 for quality. I enjoyed this movie more than I expected. And I think my theory that the script was rewritten in a way to distract you from the sex law is supported by a lot of the wacky stuff that happens in the movie. But ultimately, that wackiness is what led me to giving this a point higher than the middle score, giving it a 3.5 for enjoyment. Quality, I give it a 0.5 point lower score than enjoyment, a 3, which also related to my theory since, the sex law thing was just too major to overlook, especially given the lack of details provided. Honestly, I would have watched a movie about how he got to the sex law in the first place. Make that a movie. Like, I'd actually be down to see that probably more than I was to see this movie. But the acting was solid. And as far as rom-coms go, this actually wasn't bad. It's just that weird sex law probably hung us and a lot of other people up and kept them from responding more positively to this movie. As far as related recommendations go, I guess you could watch Anyone But You.
No.
But I already know how much you hate that movie. So instead of promoting that behavior, maybe see another Glenn Powell movie that's way more fun. 2024's Twisters.
Oh, yeah.
Starring him, Daisy Edgar Jones, and Anthony Ramos. It's the sequel to Twister, which is probably a movie I haven't actually seen in its entirety and only seen in pieces on cable over the years. But yeah, it's a great summer blockbuster. So definitely check that out if you haven't, even though it has absolutely nothing to really do with this movie.
Yes. And that reminds me, we really got to get you in that Glenn Powell, This Is Not My First Tornado shirt again.
Oh, yeah.
Classic.
Right. So what do you think about this movie?
Oh my God. I liked this movie. I liked it quite a bit. And I was not expecting that at all. Okay. Sushi mentioned it, but we've seen this trailer, I want to say 50 times.
Definitely.
Minimum 20. Okay. We've seen this so many times. I thought it looked stupid. Will Gluck is kind of hit or miss for me. I love Easy A. I hate Anyone But You. But I swear to God, this movie's good. I was chuckling basically the whole time. It's funny. It's cute. It's more interesting than I expected for a movie about a fascist sex purge. Basically, I knew within the first 5 minutes that I was going to have a good time. I did. Allie, played by Monica Barbaro. She's a musician with a very unexpected job in the music industry. And there's a joke around it really early, like first minute or two, that just made me go like, oh, okay.
I love how it kind of creeps up on you too.
It does.
I remember we were both sitting there and then maybe 5 seconds into it, I'm like, wait a second.
Yes.
And then I turned to you and then we both realized what was happening.
It's so good. It's so good. I want to tell you, but don't want to ruin it for you.
Yeah.
But that joke, immediately I was like, this movie is not taking itself seriously. It wants you to be entertained. Barbaro is just immediately super duper charming and funny in this. I really liked her character from the second we met her. The easiest way I can describe the sex purge in One Night Only is it's like New Year's Eve with fascist stakes. Think about the pressure people already put on New Year's Eve. You got to go out. You got to have plans. It has to be special. Except here, you don't hook up tonight. You literally can't hook up for the next year. So everybody is absolutely losing their minds.
Yeah.
And of course, the funny part, the government's trying to control people's sexuality, but all they've really done is create one night where the entire country is just completely obsessed degenerates. You know?
Yeah, everybody horny, man.
Yeah. One character calls it the least romantic night of the year, which, yeah, pretty much. And the sex purge brings out every possible variety of fuckboys in this movie, okay? Do people still say fuckboy, Sush? I'm not sure.
I don't know. I'm not young enough to tell you
All
that.
right. Whatever the one generation below that version is what these guys are. But there are so many different shades of skeevy, and unfortunately, I recognize some of these species, but you get a really funny range of people hitting on each other at bars. You got musicians, magicians, tech bros, finance bros, really the full range of bros. I really loved some little details about how people adapted to the law. Like, of course, there's a massive condom industry because there always has to be someone figuring out how to make a profit. There's all this price gouging around the condoms on the night. And the film and TV productions purposely shoot on the purge day because they know nobody's going to be on the streets, except the actors are pissed because they want to fuck too. But the actual mechanics of this whole thing, just the number of questions I had was endless. Weirdly, none of the questions fully got me off board. I still was really enjoying it. And I've seen some criticism that One Night Only doesn't get deeply enough into the politics of this world. Totally get it. But I don't really think this movie is about this whole thing itself, the sex purge, or how America's become fascist, or how to overthrow the government. I think this is about the life of people who are just trying to live in the middle of all that. And that kind of felt real to me because millions of people are living through injustice and political bullshit that they have very little control over. A lot of people are in danger, but you still have to sort of put one foot in front of the other and live your life. So, okay, you got to work, you got to eat, you still want to fall in love, laugh with your friends, whatever. So I think that if you're able to watch this and just frame it as that, it's not about the purge as much as how people react to exigent circumstances. I really think that. Now, obviously, okay, I'm not saying, Sush, I've been deep into the TikTok discussion about
I
this
don't know.
movie.
It seems like you found a lot of stuff from this movie. That seems pretty ridiculous.
I did. But I do think that not every movie has to be about the big crazy idea. It could be about the little idea inside of it. I don't know. Guys, to be honest, I might just be trying to justify how much I like this movie. But okay, here's the thing. The romance in this rom-com, is it a home run? Not really. A lot of the relationship is them coincidentally seeing each other, but they've got banter. They're both attractive. They have similar views of sex. And I think you do see them slowly become closer and it works well. But I think the problem is just the character of Allie is so much more interesting than Owen. She's funny and warm and talented, insecure about her music. Owen he's a dude who likes pizza, man. That's it. Just seems like, okay, they didn't put as much time into developing his character. So sometimes I was like, she's great. He's there. But also I was trying to figure out, okay, what is this movie actually saying about sex? And to be honest, I kind of think it's not about sex. It's about relationships. Movie doesn't really judge people for having sex in any way. I think it's pretty satirical, making fun of the idea that you could control something as personal as sex with a government mandate. So I think they're having a lot of fun with the premise. And yeah, the premise does fall apart if you stare at it too hard. I think Owen's character could have used another draft, but man, Monica Barbaro is great. I really want to see her in more stuff. I thought the jokes were really funny. It has a really quick pace. It's cute. You'll have a good time. As far as my ratings, oh my God, I never could have predicted this, but I gave it a 4 for enjoyment. You sat next to me. You heard me.
Yeah.
I really liked it. I haven't been this surprised by a movie since Now You See Me, Now You Don't. Movie that I was fully expecting to enjoy, hate watching. And 5 minutes in, I'm like, wow, magic's really something, huh?
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I feel about this movie. I can't help it. I got chemistry with this movie. It gave me the dopamine. I don't know if I used that correctly. But anyway, quality. All right, a little lower for quality, let's be honest. I gave it a 3.5. There are definitely an infinite number of holes in the premise. Yeah. And romance could be a little stronger. Owen's character could be more interesting. But man, it's funny. It's charming. I do think it has a little more on its mind than it seems. But damn, I did really like this one.
I just feel like I totally understand now why this movie feels the way it does when you see it, based on what happened with the production. Because if so much was changed with the script, I can honestly see the director, especially this director, being the type of person to be like, dude, everybody's going to be thinking about the sex life. We gotta make this movie more interesting than the sex life so people can not think about it for a moment. And I really think that was the aspect that makes the movie as enjoyable as you know.
We really should watch Easy A because it also has the same sort of heavy joke density, fun family relationships, a lot of great stuff. I think that when we saw Anyone But You, I thought, oh my God, I really thought I liked this director. And now I guess maybe I don't. I think the difference is the casting. I have to be honest. This
you
movie
just don't like Sydney Sweeney.
Not in that role. I've liked her in things we've seen. But in that role, she doesn't have the energy to deliver this kind of banter. She's a little too relaxed for some of it.
Yeah,
but
she was good for Madam Web.
She was good for Madam Web. Yeah. Yeah.
That's every character. She should play all those characters. That's why she worked for Housemaid, too.
I loved her in Housemaid. Yes.
Yeah.
Sydney Sweeney.
Anyway, from one crazy onto another crazy, I guess.
Yeah. Well, meow, the boys are back. Super Troopers 3 is the third movie in the cult comedy series from Broken Lizard, the group behind Beer Fest and Club Dread. with Jay Chandrasekhar once again directing. The original crew is back, including Chandrasekhar, Kevin Heffernan, Steve Lemmy, Paul Soder, Eric Stolhaskny. I didn't think that would be the name I'd have difficulty with. And Brian Cox. This time, Farva is marrying Thorny's sister, which Thorny is, absolutely not okay with. So while he tries to break them up, the troopers get involved in an investigation into a new drug ring, and obviously there is chaos, and it does ensue. So, Sush, what do you think of Super Troopers 3?
Oh, I know I've seen the first Super Troopers and otherwise have general awareness of, and I've seen a couple of the Broken Lizard Comedy Troupes other movies, namely Beer Fest and Club Dread. Even though these guys definitely dip into some raunchy adult humor, I think what's always made me generally open to seeing their movies, even without always knowing what the premise will be, is that it seems like with the presence of an Indian guy, Jay Chandrasekhar, in the group, it seems like any racial humor will probably be along the lines of poking fun at stereotypes rather than anything really mean-spirited, I guess. Seeing the trailer, it was in line with what I expected from Broken Lizard. Seemed like the premise for this sequel would be Farva marrying Sarita, Thorny's sister, and all the hijinks surrounding that, and Thorny and the rest of the guys presumably trying to prevent it from happening. So I was on board to see this movie pretty much as soon as I saw the trailer. I didn't realize that you were a fan until the first time we saw the trailer for this, since I know the previous Super Troopers movie came out before we even met.
I've only seen the first one.
Oh, okay.
But that trailer really cracked me up. I don't know what it was.
Yeah. Seeing the movie, it was pretty much what I expected. If you've personally seen a Super Troopers or one of the earlier Broken Lizard movies that has the entire team filling the cast, you probably also expect fairly nonstop, absurd, crude humor. So I guess I should drop the trigger warnings for it for anyone concerned. South Asian racial stereotypes, police stereotypes, retirement stereotypes.
Oh, yeah.
Fancy afternoon tea stereotypes. Overweight stereotypes.
Yeah.
Electric vehicle stereotypes.
Yeah.
AI relationship stereotypes.
Oh, yeah, true.
Marriage and marriage planning stereotypes. And maple syrup fraud for our Canadian listeners. But in all seriousness, I did appreciate the racial humor. Was more laughing at stereotypes that people make about race rather than actually making those or other racist digs.
Yeah.
And whether it was intended or not, I really think this kind of approach extends to pretty much all the comedy that covers the topics I mentioned in my list of trigger warnings. It's mostly making fun of stereotypes that people make that can be hurtful.
Right.
It's pretty evident, even in the trailer, when we see Thorny unable to deal with Farva's upcoming wedding to his sister. It's been established and it's pretty evident that Farva's kind of the stereotypical fat, dumb, offensive, lazy American cop, right? But Thorny's sister is obviously physically attractive and in shape, and her character is some brilliant Indian geneticist. So she's definitely supposed to be way out of his league. But she's actually pretty crazy about Farva, and they seem to have a pretty good relationship in the movie. They get each other's jokes and stuff. It's great. Especially since it drives Thorny crazy. Anyway, if you're familiar with the typical Broken Lizard direction writing, then you probably already know it's not for everyone. But I think with this specific movie being a bit sweeter and less crude or offensive compared to some of the other Super Trooper and Broken Lizard movies, likely due to a major part of the plot dealing with a wedding, it makes sense that this is the one out of all their movies that I think has received the best critical response.
Yeah.
Even though it still isn't that great. Like, last I checked, it was at 50% critics on
Yeah.
Rotten Tomatoes. I think a lot of that is obviously down to the cast, which is basically comprised of the Broken Lizard comedy troupe with a few additional actors and comedians thrown in. Instead of listing everyone off, I'm just going to go through my highlights. Jay Chandrasekhar as Thorny and Kevin Heffernan as Farva. Obviously, since they're the ones that are both most central to the main plot and probably have the most screen time out of everyone. Both are hilarious, returning as their characters, but obviously we have the added element that they're soon to be brother-in-laws, which gives them something extra to play off.
Yeah.
Hannah Simone as Sarita, hilarious. I liked how unpredictable she was, and I honestly do think the moments she has with Farva are some of the funniest in the movie.
Aw.
Steve Lemmy as Mac. Even though haven't seen most of the Broken Lizard movies, I have to say, of the ones I've seen, I think Steve has the best side plot in this movie that deals with his white whale and electric car that you see in the trailer. I also love that this bit he has in the later part of the movie ends up being one of those that drags on for longer than you expect.
Oh my God, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Andrew Dismukes is Coy. I thought he was fun as the new, I guess, Gen Z addition to the Troopers. And has a lot of great moments. And Chase Crawford, John Rudnitsky, and Lisa Gilroy.
Oh my God, they're great.
Who play the Buchanan brothers, Baker and Steve, and their cousin Betty. I thought they were hilarious in their roles. I want to elaborate, but I can't because spoilers. But they were great, and I hope to see Chase Crawford in movies more now that The Boys is over. Overall, no one in the cast is trying to make a family comedy or deliver a performance that was meant to attract award nominations. I think everyone is really just focused on trying to deliver two things, dumb and funny. And I think they were pretty successful with that. Design elements were pretty consistent with the previous Super Trooper movies. Since the movie mostly involves state troopers and locals in a small town in Vermont, there's not a lot in terms of set nor VFX type stuff. Music and score are pretty sparse, but work for the moments that they're present. I think the highlights as far as design were the elements that were most involved in the comedy.
Oh, yeah.
The stunts, practical effects, and makeup. I'd say most of them were well suited to the type of movie this is, but I think there were some moments with makeup and practical effects stuff that I thought could have been done better, even for slapstick comedy. However, I do think that for this specific Super Troopers movie, since Indian culture plays significantly into the plot, there was some great work done with the costumes for the wedding.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So for my ratings, I gave this a 3.5 for enjoyment and a 2.5 for quality.
Hey.
The movie was pretty much what I expected it'd be based on the trailer and as a movie in the Super Troopers franchise. And I enjoy any comedy nowadays that still delivers on physical comedy specifically.
Yeah.
I gave it a 3.5 because I'd probably rate the first Super Troopers movie a 4 for enjoyment.
Oh, okay.
And I felt this one was almost as enjoyable, but I suppose I expected more given that this was the third movie in the series, which I think also affected my quality rating as well.
Gotcha.
While it's arguable that this was one of those movies where some noticeably low budget aspects actually worked in its favor. It's clear this movie did have some kind of budget that was decent, at least compared to the other two, given that we probably have more notable cast members outside of the Broken Lizard team this time around. I don't know. This movie just did feel like one that could have felt qualitatively better if they maybe just changed how they spent their budget.
Yeah.
Like, I personally think they could have done with mostly the Broken Lizard team and Brian Cox returning, along with some lesser known actors or comedians than we ended up having. I mean, they did happen to cast Trevor Wallace for a small role in this movie. So they're at least aware that people nowadays might be into comedians whose primary platform is social media. So I guess I just don't understand why they didn't lean more in that direction to free up some budget for some design stuff. Or maybe that's just how they wanted the movie to be. But all I know is that's why I rated what I did for quality.
Gotcha.
As far as related recommendations go, even though I only saw it once and don't remember a lot about it, I picked the 2005 comedy Waiting, starring Ryan Reynolds, Justin Long, and Anna Faris as wait staff at a Bennigan's type restaurant. I suppose young people might not know what Bennigan's is. Is it even around anymore?
I doubt it.
Anyway, I just figured it was another raunchy comedy with an ensemble cast that's mostly playing characters in the same profession, working at the same place, just servers this time around instead of, say, troopers. So, yeah. What did you think of Super Troopers 3?
Well, I kind of went into Super Troopers 3 feeling a little on the fence. I think I do have a bit of a prejudice against dude movies from 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Like the ones that every guy in college says, you have to see. It's not typically my thing. I expected something a bit more dated, sexist, shock humor. Plus, I don't know, it's cops. And I just don't feel like watching cops be heroes sometimes in comedy. And yet, I enjoyed this quite a bit. I laughed a lot of the movie. I think the biggest reason is I do like these idiots. They remind me of brothers, that dynamic, or like super close male friends where 90% of the relationship is talking shit. Yeah. But someone else fucks with you, your friend will kick their ass. That kind of relationship. And, they're normal dudes. I mean, not normal, but normaler than an action movie cop. And they're weird and they're incompetent. So they're basically not authority figures, which I think is pretty fun. What I was thinking is they're like scamps. They're little stinkers. It's a movie full of little stinkers. And the humor, it's not as mean as I expected. Just like you were saying, it's juvenile, definitely, but it's not mean. It feels like it's just ammunition for fucking with your friends. Yeah. But underneath the shit talking, you love each other. That kind of humor.
For sure.
Which led to the thing I did not expect. So I was really racking my brain, like, what is the theme of this movie? And I was like, I don't know what they intended to be. But what I took away was, this is like when you have a boring or shitty job. So you and your coworkers become best friends with inside jokes. And the thing that makes a bad situation bearable is having silly little games like this, having fun. And I really liked that. I liked that this is like a movie about having fun with your friends, essentially. I mean, yes, and trying to stop a marriage, but not the highest stakes. Also, I really liked the Vermont setting. I am from New England, so I'm a little prejudiced there. But the mystery involves a new syrup company that moved into town, and everyone hates them because they're selling corn syrup instead of real maple syrup. And I'm like, that's a beautiful detail. I love that. I love that everyone in this movie looks like they belong there. I hate when you see a small town setting, but everyone looks like an LA model. I
don't know, though. I think that family of
they are an attractive family.
Yeah, that do the wedding.
Okay, let me say, aside from the Buchanans.
Yeah.
I mean, he was in one of those teen girl mystery shows or something, wasn't he? Pace Crawford. Yeah, actually, speaking of them, I love those guys. The brothers are basically dudes who are hot shit in high school, stayed in town, and nobody told them that they're not hot shit anymore. They just really are riding off that. I loved that. I loved, oh my gosh, the Canadian EV police car. Just look out for it, guys. You wouldn't expect there to be so many opportunities for humor there, and it does not go where I expected. Actually, that's the thing about this movie. It really didn't go where I expected. It starts sort of normal-ish, a little bit more grounded, and it just gets progressively more and more fucking insane until the last 20 minutes, we've basically detached from reality. Just, these are not things that would happen ever. But I was laughing so hard because I just couldn't believe some of the audacity of what they built up to. Was every joke for me? No, but I enjoyed it quite a bit. Also, I just think it's great that Broken Lizard has been around so long. They clearly went to college together. I can't
like the
tell you.
90s.
Yeah. How many people I know who still talk about their college sketch or improv troupe. You get such creative fuel from those early theatrical things. But yeah, it's so cool that these guys have been working together for so long and still putting out pretty darn good stuff, I would say. At least for how much our audience was laughing and cringing.
Yeah.
Oh, one last note. I really need less bodily fluids in movies. I'm sick of it, man. But okay, aside from that, quite enjoyed it. For enjoyment, I gave it a 3. It had me chuckling. I was not offended at all. And some fun acting. Quality, I gave it a 2.5. I mean, not that the plot matters to the people going to see this movie. You go because you want to see these guys, you want to see the jokes. But the plot could have been a little more substantial.
Right.
They could have bumped up sort of the look of things. They could have cut some of the fat, but it was really great. Oh, and I'm going to close out with one of my favorite moments for the movie, weirdly, from bloopers at the end of the movie.
Oh.
Brian Cox, who is a classically trained theater actor, says to one of the guys, Shakespeare, I'd done more Shakespeare than you had hot meals. So that, amongst some other things, make it, I would say, a worthy bloopery reel to stay for after the movie. But
cool.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's another movie to add to the list for bodily fluid summer.
Oh, boy. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to TV.
Hey, Sushi?
Yeah.
You know those animals that go, oh, wah, wah?
Rock hyraxes?
Do you think rock hyraxes could burrow into the silo?
Oh, I would think so. I think they're burrowing animals, if I remember correctly. But yeah, if they do, I would totally assume they could do that. Oh, this correction is being made in post-production. Rock hyraxes are actually not true burrowing animals. They actually just live in natural rock crevices, boulders, cliffs, small caves, and occasionally abandoned burrows made by other animals. But they don't actually excavate their own. We apologize for the inconvenience and return you to your regularly scheduled TV episode recap. But
Hell yeah.
I haven't heard any during the course of the show, so I'm assuming they haven't. So
okay.
sorry,
All right.
yeah,
Well,
it's unfortunate.
I'm glad that we discussed this. And what's going on?
Yeah. I don't think you know what? Actually, now that you bring that up, the pet situation in the silo, I feel like it's pretty much non-existent.
Damn.
Except for, the one dog that we saw being walked a few episodes ago. But anyway.
Anywho. So what's up with the whole people?
Yeah. Well, the whole people or the mole people, whatever you want to call them, things are not great.
Mm-hmm.
But we are on episode 6 of season 3, titled The Drive. The episode continues on from the end of the previous, with Juliet regaining most of her memories. In the wake of her escape, Camille becomes increasingly suspicious of her husband, Robert. After he claims that Juliet got away, Camille quietly orders raiders to monitor him, signaling that trust within the leadership may be deteriorating.
Dang.
Meanwhile, Knox and Shirley secretly move the recovering Bernard to Martha's workshop, where the group of dissidents, including Lucas Kyle and Patrick Kennedy, are gathered. Juliet soon arrives, announcing her memories have returned, and Lucas explains that he was able to recover information from the damaged hard drive she gave him, revealing critical infrastructure connected to the silo, leading to the realization that the information could allow them to locate and disable the deadly safeguard system that could be used to kill everyone in Silo 18.
Ooh.
As Juliet pieces together what she remembers about Silo 17, she recalls important blueprints that may help identify the safeguard connection locations, reasoning that since Silo 17 and 18 share the same design, discovering such information in one silo could save the other. The group concludes that a mission to Silo 17 is necessary. One of their allies stops by and interrupts the meeting, notifying them that Camille and her forces are nearby looking for Juliet. So everyone separates, and Martha tells Bernard they have to relocate him yet again. Elsewhere in the silo, Sheriff Billings continues investigating Orla Kent's murder and tells Hank about the shortage of light bulbs, which leads to Hank deducing focusing on the light bulb theft could potentially lead them to Orla's murder. We check in with the flashback timeline where Daniel and Helen continue their mysterious journey after their minivan is hijacked. Helen tosses their phones out the window and Daniel tries to hotwire the minivan, but he just ends up getting injured and they seem to give in to their situation. For Daniel, he can at least be satisfied that Helen liked his gift from their non-date.
Oh, yeah.
A Duck Pez dispenser, like the one we've seen 300 years in the future, that was returned to Juliet recently. Speaking of her, back in the silo, in an effort to protect Bernard and buy time for her allies, Juliet turns herself in, but as raiders take her into custody, she quietly reveals to Camille only that she remembers everything, including her visit to another silo. Juliet argues that they should rescue surviving children that remain trapped in Silo 17 and wants to plan a rescue mission. So she pushes Camille to speak with the algorithm to make her case. Meanwhile, Billings' investigation leads him and Hank to a visit with Mark Chambers, the head of a manufacturing workshop in the Down Deep, for questioning regarding the theft from Critical Supply. He refuses on the grounds that the sheriff didn't help when his best friend was killed during the rebellion. However, Billings offers to retrieve the names of those involved in his friend's murder, which he says he can do whatever he wants with the info.
Ooh.
Mark tells him that he had made weapons for Knox, and if he's looking for anything regarding stolen goods, he should be looking for Knox's father. Returning to the flashback timeline briefly, Helen decides to sit on the floor in the back seat of the minivan, which she thinks should increase their chances of police and maybe other motorists spotting them if they happen to pass by. Back in the silo, Camille brings Julia to the algorithm so she can present her case. It initially rejects her request, calculating that the risks outweigh the benefits, but out of desperation, Juliet agrees to go back on the memory-suppressing drugs and offers to have the children from Silo 17 take them as well. Camille takes her aside and accuses her of making a play, but Julia tells her that she is telling the truth. We again briefly return to the minivan in the flashback timeline where Helen and Daniel are having a conversation in the back. They both lament that they aren't close to anyone who would notice they're gone, so it's likely no one has contacted the authorities about their disappearances. Following this, we cut back to the silo where Juliet visits Martha and Bernard and updates them on the rescue plan for the kids at Silo 17, which will serve as cover as they search for safeguard connections, and informs them of her recommendation for Shirley and Knox to be the ones to carry out the plan. Meanwhile, Billings confronts Knox regarding Orla's murder, but he claims he doesn't know her. Things get heated between them, but Hank gets Billings to cool off by suggesting they check surveillance footage at security. Back in the minivan, Daniel apologizes to Helen for questioning her journalistic integrity earlier. This leads to her sharing a vulnerable moment, revealing that she wrote an article about drug addiction among congressional staffers, but unfortunately, people online correctly guessed the name of one of her sources. So to protect them, Helen lied and said she made everything up, which ended up destroying her career.
Ooh, dang.
Cutting back to the silo, Shirley and Knox argue over whether or not to help Juliet, with Knox trying to dissuade Shirley after she reveals she's pregnant. They argue, with Shirley claiming they're the best ones to go. And if they don't, their kid, as well as everyone else's kids, will die. But eventually both agree to tell Juliet they'll go. At the Sims home, Camille returns only to have Robert inform her that their son stole credits from his teacher and blame someone else. The school says if it happens again, he'll be expelled and sent to work in supply. Robert and Camille argue over the incident, and she tells him, "You need to stop what you're doing," as he reveals he's well aware that she's had him tailed. But instead of backing down, she threatens him, saying that she'll find out what he's hiding and will be forced to do something about it. In the flashback timeline, Helen and Daniel see police lights and think they're getting rescued, but actually it just ends up being a police escort.
Oh, no.
Yeah. We catch up with Billings and Hank as they barge into security and ask to see the footage from the entrance to the mines. The woman working the cameras tells her they gassed the mines to find Lucas Kyle, but reviewing the footage, they happen to spot Glenda heading into the mines, and then strangely again at supply within 10 minutes, which is impossible given the distance. Meanwhile, we see barrels of vitamin D plus being hauled up the silo stairs, ending up in the water supply, and deeper down in the mines, we see Ed Harwood lecturing people who have just arrived in the mines for the first time as Knox shows up and asks to talk to his father, and Harwood responding, he died 2 years ago. Juliet and Camille visit the algorithm to lay out the rescue plan, with Juliet offering multiple concessions and seeking permission to send engineers to Silo 17 instead of going herself. Her first choices are Knox and Shirley, but the algorithm refuses, considering them too important to Silo 18's survival. So Juliet then proposes Lucas Kyle and Patrick Kennedy go instead, which the algorithm agrees to. As Juliet leaves, Camille tells the algorithm it's a mistake to take in the children. Although it approved Juliet's revised plan after she's left, the algorithm tells Camille that Lucas and Kennedy are not expected to survive the mission to Silo 17. At the same time, Camille has already begun distributing memory-suppressing vitamin D to the silo's water supply. We end the events in the silo for this episode with the clear implication that the algorithm is preparing to manipulate or erase the population's memories while quietly eliminating those who threaten its control. Closing out the episode, we return to the flashback timeline where Helen and Daniel's minivan arrives at a large, brightly lit airplane hangar where they're greeted by Senator Thurman asking, "Dan, Helen, how would you like to help save the world?" And the episode ends.
Oh my God. What a way to end an episode.
Yeah. What'd you think about it?
Well, Silo has another cliffhanger, of course. But, you know, I liked this episode. It wasn't quite as action-packed as the last one, but I don't think it had to be. There's a lot happening under the surface. Everyone is investigating something, negotiating with somebody, or trying to figure out what someone else is doing. So there's a lot of that going on. I think one of the things that struck me the most was how interesting the algorithm was this episode, because we're finally getting a better sense of how this thing actually controls people. And it's not just by giving them orders. Camille is basically watching her whole family fall apart this episode. Robert's working against her. Her son's acting out. She's overwhelmed. And she rants about it to the algorithm. And it tells her that your blood pressure's elevated. Take some deep breaths. Then it tells her she's doing a good job and she's special. I was like, what the heck? It felt like an AI program that read a Psych 101 reference. You know, it was weird. And I think that's what made it really creepy. It seems to understand what people need from it. Sometimes it threatens them. Sometimes it reassures them. There have been a couple times now where somebody talks to it and it just doesn't answer. And I'm starting to wonder if that's part of it too. Like, does it know that somebody ignoring someone is the best way to get what it wants? I don't know, but it's just very manipulative. And I'm interested in how it does that and interacts with humans. Which also makes Juliet's sort of doing a deal with it really fun. because she's starting to figure out how to manipulate it back. I would not have anticipated when we started watching Silo season 1 that Juliet would be negotiating with an AI. Like, what? That's crazy.
Right.
But yeah, she needs someone to go to Silo 17, figure out about those fail-safe pipes. The algorithm definitely doesn't want them to leave. But Juliet was so smart and sort of dangling Patrick Kennedy and Lucas Kyle in front of them because she knows the algorithm wants them dead. So she's like, okay, if you let us go and maybe these guys die, that's a risk I'm willing to take. So I thought that was really tough and smart of Juliet. Although it is very funny that rescuing kids in Silo 17 is a cover for something else. To be honest, I couldn't tell if she really did want to save them or it was just bullshit to get over to investigate Silo 17.
I think she wants to, but it's just also a great opportunity to follow up with the other stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I like to think it's both, definitely. But I'm glad we're talking about saving the kids. And it did get me thinking, it would be interesting if they actually are saved to see how they would integrate. But anyway, it's just sort of how the whole episode felt. It's like every time we learned something, there was another question like that. So that there's that smaller investigation with Billings and Hank. I really liked how Hank realized instead of focusing on finding Orla's killer, let's find who's stealing the light bulbs. And from there, we can find her. I think that's really smart. I think that it's cool to see Hank taking a bigger role in the investigation. Also, what the fuck is going on with Glenda from Supply? Like,
oh man, I got some theories.
So she apparently can move through the silo insanely fast. I wonder if that could be related to how her dad is head of the mines. So now I'm wondering if there are tunnels or passages that go down through that allow them to travel. Because we did see a bit of that earlier in the season. People are hiding from authorities and they sort of go down a level. But I'm interested to see what happens there. The before times was, it was really slow. It was very slow and there wasn't a lot going on, but I think it was some nice character development. You see Daniel's hurt, Helen patches him up, the thing with the Pez dispenser, that's cute. But I think more than anything, my favorite part of that storyline is where we learn that Helen lost her reputation as a journalist, not because she was a bad journalist, but because she was so dedicated to protecting one of her informants that she would ruin her whole career for it. And really interesting in light of why Thurman would pick the two of them to go to what I'm assuming is going to be the silo, because they're very different the way that you would use them. For Helen, how would you use someone who has so much integrity if you're not doing something that is above board? Like, what would be the benefit there? Daniel, I feel like he can be easy to manipulate because his sister, but I'm curious to see what they have planned for Helen. Yeah. Again, it's another episode that left me with a lot of questions. I really need to see episode 7 as soon as possible. I cannot wait until Friday. But yeah, what'd you think, Sush?
Well, I'll admit the start of the episode had me a bit concerned since they had Juliet's memories returning at the end of the last episode. But then at the start of this episode, they had her not remembering enough or starting to lose some of the memories again, or at least the details. Yeah, come on now. Ease up on us poor viewers, man. We've been through a lot.
I know.
But overall, given all the crazy stuff with the algorithm and the minivan being driven remotely and the flashback timeline and the saving the world bit at the end
that was crazy.
Of this episode, I think more than in any episode in the series thus far, this one resulted in me coming up with some wild theories.
Oh my God. Yeah. I found myself doing that too. Okay.
Yeah. The first one kind of relates to Camille. So, wow. I know she's been scheming and we assume it's for the benefit of her family and maybe even human survival. But what she gets up to in this episode is pretty wild, even for her.
Yeah.
I mean, she ends up having Robert tailed by raiders, and beyond that, she also set such a shitty example for her son
I
that he
know.
might end up getting expelled and sent to work in supply. And she had a pretty crazy argument with both Juliet and the Algo.
Yeah, true.
Damn, girl.
Yeah, she's coming apart at the seams.
Yeah. Oh, but also, I almost died when the Algo's immediate response to her was, "I'm sorry you feel that way." The ultimate, "I'm sorry, that sucks, but it's not really my problem or fault."
My
So, yeah,
God.
response.
Side note, pause. I'm so excited you're calling it the Algo because I've been wanting to call it the Algo this whole time.
Oh, we got to shorten it.
Algo from now
can't
on,
keep
okay?
saying algorithm.
All right, agreed.
I mean, I might say algorithm again, but
All
algo is
right.
totally appropriate. All I know is if we're supposed to believe the algo is all knowing or anything close to it in Juliet's time, and we assume that Camille only knows as much as Juliet has discovered, or likely less, given that she's dependent on what the algo chooses to share with her, and also has to trust that it hasn't ever lied to her.
Right.
With it even going as far as explaining that it needs to deal with Juliet tactfully.
Yeah.
It seems like Camille's usefulness might be ending soon.
Ooh.
I kind of think it's just telling Camille that everything's going as planned, even if she feels the situation is getting out of control.
Uh-huh.
In a way, it seems like with her memory returning and forcing a meeting, the algo has chosen to prioritize Juliet and might try to find an opportunity to get rid of Camille if it feels like it can somehow convince Juliet to carry out its plan, even if it's through misrepresentation or coercion. I mean, it should be able to manage that if it's supposed to be so intelligent, right? My other theory is regarding Sheriff Billings' investigation.
Oh, okay.
Taking a moment to just cover that, man, for a side plot, it's really getting interesting.
Yeah.
Sure, it's cool that everything that's going on with the Algo and Juliet somehow connects to the events from the flashback timeline. But even if it's for now, I like that Billings' investigation is really heating up on its own. And it's kind of a separate thing. The whole scene, Glenda getting from the mines to supply within 10 minutes thing really got me thinking. And I feel like either Glenda is using one of those alternate tunnels or pathways to get between those two locations so quickly, or maybe the algorithm is AI, or at least some type of machine learning that can create deep fake content.
Oh.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't think of the latter until I rewatched the episode. But with them being able to control the minivan even 300 years prior, I don't think it's too crazy to assume that a computer could learn to deep fake a surveillance recording so well over the years that it'd be indiscernible from real footage of an actual person.
Yeah, I mean, the Mission Impossible movies have been doing this for years. Ha, okay.
But yeah, aside from my crazy theories, I enjoyed the scenes we had with Shirley and Knox, but I'm definitely concerned for them, even though I obviously think they could definitely be successful if they actually ended up being chosen to go to Silo 17. Since they aren't now, what's going to happen with them having a kid?
Yeah.
I mean, I assume that part of Shirley's plea to Knox to follow through with the whole plan was because she can see an option where they could safely have a child in their current situation.
Yeah.
Since I don't recall them being given permission to.
That's true.
Maybe I missed something, but yeah, I just figure without them going now, that might pose a problem.
Interesting.
The whole flashback storyline for this episode, yeah, I kind of agreed with you. I guess it was cool that we got more character development, but man, I just felt like they birthed through so much time for not much payoff, or at least Not yet. We literally just have them hanging out in the back of a minivan that's being controlled by someone else until the big cliffhanger at the end of the episode. I know you had a theory that it's a setup for a potential relationship between the two. But I honestly don't feel like that's going to happen. And we didn't really need all those scenes to establish that Helen does have integrity as a journalist, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
His sister wouldn't have gone to her otherwise.
Exactly. So beyond the plot and story stuff, it's always cool to get long vertical shots of the silo.
Oh, yeah.
With everyone working their different jobs and moving up and down the stairs and across the different floors like we did at the beginning of the episode.
Oh, that was cool.
Yeah, I really love these types of shots, and I really think they're great to open an episode with as a reminder that even if life in the silo seems primitive, there's still a lot of moving parts as far as people keeping things running. Or at least I feel like that's what most of the residents believe.
Yeah.
Which also serves as a reminder of how many people have been affected already and how many more will be when something fucked up inevitably happens again.
Right.
Overall, I thought this was a great episode, but I really am curious as to who or what is behind the algorithm or what events lead to it, because there's still some things that make me kind of point at it being just a voice that's controlled by a group of people, like a think tank kind of thing that's posing as a single entity. Or it could be AI in the time that it's like not responding is when it's processing. But come on, it's been 300 years since they were controlling minivans. So you think this thing would be processing a lot faster and it wouldn't need people to carry out its missions.
No,
so
it wouldn't have increasing resources to grow with its knowledge.
Yeah, but I would think that it would get smarter over time. So it would be better at leveraging the humans to get things done.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, but I just don't believe that they actually need to have an assigned contact like they do, especially in this episode with how it's dealing with Camille and me feeling like it's heading towards the end of their relationship.
Yeah, well, it's headed towards the end of the season and some dramatic things usually happen.
Right. But earlier in the season when I was questioning, why does the algorithm need Camille's help to begin with? I'm getting closer to maybe some evidence that shows, it's just messing with them or trying to learn more about humans or how they deal with complicated situations.
Gosh, that's so crazy.
But yeah, Silo.
Wow.
Ashley.
Yes?
What are we watching next?
Next week, we're going to talk about the prestige film Paw Patrol, the Dino Movie, and the Lady Stoner comedy, The Wrong Girls.
Oh, hell yeah. What an amazing release week.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see that government-funded team of cartoon dogs again. I wonder if they still have the superpowers from the last movie.
Oh, my God.
Anyway, for TV, we'll be covering Silo Season 3, Episode 7, Radio, and the series premiere of Lanterns, which I've really been looking forward to.
Can't wait. Well, thanks so much for listening, guys. We really appreciate you taking the time to hang out with us weirdos.
And make sure to subscribe, rate, and review positively, but like not the same kind of positively at just 50% or whatever that Super Troopers 3 got on Rotten Tomatoes. I mean, I'm Asian, so I at least need a 90%.
90% positive.
But anyway, follow us on social media, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Other than that, thank you. And we will check you guys next week.
Bye.
Later.
Laughter in the air, friendships touch. Movies and delights will share so much. Let's enjoy this side.